And one last time before Madam President takes over the meeting, here's the agenda for this evening.
Okay, once again, I just want to say good evening to everyone. Good evening, comrades. Thank you again. I've always said it, that it's just much appreciation for you coming out to the meeting. We have a lot of fights on the ground, and this is a very important place for us to be, to hear from each other, and also strategize and mobilize each others to go out and to take on any kind of fight, the struggles that we have within the workplace, and also getting a politician to push back politician and to vote and to get ready to vote as well. So thank you very much for coming out. Before we start off our discussion, I'm gonna ask for our Treasurer Abdi to do the harassment statement. Abdi?
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, comrades again. Harassment statement from Toronto, York Regional Council. Mutual respect, cooperation, and understanding are strongly held principles of the trade union movement. We will never condone nor tolerate harassing or discriminatory behavior that creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive environment and undermines the dignity or self-esteem of any individual. An injury to one is an injury to all. Speech or conduct which is racist, sexist, homophobic, or discriminatory is in any way is unacceptable to trade unionists and only serves to divide us. Our policies and practices must reflect this commitment to equality as we work together for justice and dignity in our workplaces, our unions, and our communities. Thank you, comrades. Back to you, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. So just to make the correction here. Comrade Abdi is our secretary. My apologies. So sorry, Abdi. And I'm going to turn it over to Treasurer Jinky for the land acknowledgement.
Good evening, everyone. As I read the land acknowledgement, I ask you just to reflect on the land that we are all present on. We are all here virtually, but I just ask as I read just to reflect on where you are currently presiding. We are meeting on the traditional territories of the Mississauga of the New Credit, which is subject to the Dish with One Spoon Treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, Haudenosaunee that bound them together to share the territory and protect their land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. Today, we acknowledge that we are covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississauga of the Credits. We acknowledge the many broken promises and treaties and the need to work towards reconciliation with the original caretakers of this land, both in the present and for future generations. Thank you for reflecting with me, everyone, today.
Okay. Thank you. So I'm going to ask for everyone, as we're getting into the meeting now, to make sure that you mute yourself. If just be careful that we're not getting the feedback from each other. So anytime you need to speak, you could use the hand signal and just raise your hand, and then we'll acknowledge you. And I'm going to turn over to Susan for the process, the Zoom process.
Thanks, Andrea. Yeah, so a reminder for those who are on your phone, if you want to mute yourself or unmute yourself, you can push *6. To raise your hand, please use the reaction function that has the raise hand. And if you're on the phone, you can use *9. Feel free to take advantage of the chat function to share some ideas or ask questions. And when voting time comes, that will be for people online, and you'll see the poll come up in front of you. Thanks, and have a great meeting.
Okay, thank you. And I'll ask, and hopefully we have anyone here for the first time, any first-time delegates? Please raise your hand. Any first-time delegates?
Don't see any raised hands. After looking for raised hands and scrolling through the delegates who are in attendance.
Okay, Susan. Thank you. Oops. Sorry, I think I'm checking myself out. Okay, so there is so much, as I mentioned before, for us coming together tonight, the better reason for us to be here. And when we look at what's happening around us within the workplace, within our own community, and I would say just the different sectors, the fight that's on the ground, and the ones that are looming that some of you are already getting ready for. This is, I would say, the perfect place to be, but leaving here with all these information and harming yourself up and getting ready to mobilize each other to support. We have the fight with the education, for fighting the education and also the other provincial fight that's going on, the municipal election that we are getting ready to turn our people out, I would say, and turn out the vote for that, and hoping that these bargaining will be in good faith. I would say that's really a lot. We have a lot at stake right now, and an election that I am also hoping we're not just counting the dates and waiting for October 24th, but mobilizing and having conversation with each other about the importance of coming out and making sure that we're not getting up on the 25th and looking back at similar election, which is the provincial election, and wondering what really happened. I am hoping that you already start phoning each other's, and as you look at the what's at stake within your own sector, how are you treating this and getting ready to vote and to turn out those votes? And I would say for all, at least the urgency. We need to feel that urgency around us, that this date is coming up and it's a very important date for us. And everyone need to start getting organized and getting, just that eagerness to go out there and do that. But I think before we do that, we have to also start to check about, as we get ready for this, are we going out to volunteer? Are we getting ourselves organized to go out and volunteer to turn out these votes, and most of all, turn out your own members, your co-workers, to make sure that they're there as well. The Toronto education workers in QP 4400, if most of you was tuned into the media, QP 4400 members voted 96.5% in favor of a strike, and that's a strike if they have to. They have that strong mandate in their pocket as they're getting ready. And I would say it's a good start. And if most of you remember, just before the pandemic the education sector was already on the ground fighting. They were on the ground facing Stephen Lecce and Ford. And yet, if we're looking at how we're going to rise up and recover, they're back there again facing Lecce. So it's really important for them to have a strong mandate going in to face the same demand that the pandemic just separate them from for a bit, pause them, and also with Lecce coming back with a 1.25 and a 2% increase in this time. When inflation is at its highest, it's really important, and also important for us to be together with them. If you're following our meetings and the action that's happening on our social media and also our e-blasts as we put them out, you'll know that the safety inspectors, they're still on strike. Almost 80 days that they're out on the line from one location to the other, taking on this fight, taking on this boss who get the support from the Ford's government, that it's okay to look the other way while employer continue to disrespect and run over worker, so they're out there, and stay close to them, give the support, get on their site to see what's happening, and if there's no changes, what can you do to help? And it's not a help to say that you're just supporting them, it's your fight. Everything that we do in support of the safety worker, it's really our own fight to make sure that it does not wind up at your own back door with everything that's going on. The union busting. Anyone know of, or if you're a union that are looking at organizing for growth in your own sector? This is one of them, where new workers, as they fight for their first contract, what it looked like after that opportunity was pulled away from workers who are organizing for the first time when Ford came in. So this is important to us. We did action at Ministry of Labor and different location, and also deliver letters that was handwritten by anyone that came out to support. And seeing at the Ministry of Labor office just recently, we were there, and they shut down all their elevators to make sure that no one get to deliver that letter. Not even the NDP MPPs that was there trying to deliver, they were not able to do that. That's how serious they are, and the kind of support that they have for union busting employer. We just have to make this clear that we are going to take them on. I always, my biggest part of this, that the denial, it's not workers who are fighting for their rights, and it's not workers who are fighting for fairness. It's the government who are in that bubble when they allow these employers to think it's okay and think that everyone is on the same level playing field. I believe that there's a denial when they walk into a store. I believe there's a denial when they go to pick up their own grocery, thinking that the elite have a different aisle from the people that they choose to pay low wage or minimum wage. There is no separate aisle for people with low wage. They have to shop in the same grocery store like the ones with the big bucks. So it's clear that we have to stand together to send that message to them, that it's not, you don't put out pennies and thinking that people are going to live with dignity and respect when you're in the same supermarket aisle with them complaining about your groceries. So for sure, as we go through tonight, and we will hear from some of what's happening with the election, the municipal election. We'll hear from Peter Tobin as well. We're waiting for that, and where do we go from here? So, thank you for listening to me, and I'm going to move on to the approval of the minutes. You should receive those minutes earlier by email. and I hope you got a chance also to review them. So there's 2 sets of minutes before you, the delegates meeting for September 1st and also for September 15th. And if you did get a chance to review, I'm gonna ask for a motion to approve the minutes for September 1st.
So moved.
Thank you.
Seconded.
You're a seconder?
Seconded, Abdi.
Thank you. Okay, and we are going to do the vote by poll. And all in favor, please signify. Any opposed, please signify.
Sisters, brothers, and comrades, we have 5 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and poll. Madam
Okay,
President.
thank you. It's carried. Thank you very much. Okay, and we'll do the same for the special delegates meeting September 15th. Could I get a mover and a seconder?
So moved.
Thank you.
Seconder Rock.
Thank you very much. Okay. All in favor? Any opposed?
Comrades, we have 5 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and poll. Madam
Okay,
President, yeah, the pass is 94%.
okay, thank you very much. Okay, up for the credential report. I will turn over to Comrade Blair.
Thank you, Madam President. For Toronto York Regional Labor Council General Membership Meeting Thursday, October 6th, the credential report is OPSU Local 386, 1 delegate, and OPSU Local 5112, 5 delegates. And I so move. And can I get a seconder on that?
I'll second it, Jinky. If there's no one else. Sorry.
Oh, I said second Rock, sorry.
Okay. Okay, the poll is up.
Five seconds left, comrades. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and poll.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, so we're up for strike report. Anyone for strike report? No strike report? Okay. All right, so I will move on. Okay, so I also want to talk a little bit more. I know our last meeting, maybe some of you was not on that meeting, and I touched on it a little bit, but I just want to raise it again. Some of our meetings, we got these reminder, and I think it's really important that we are stepping up and showing that we are, it matters, and it's very important for us showing inclusion in these meetings. We've been reminded by some of our own delegates that when we refer to our relationship with each other as union members, our language sometimes not inclusive. And I just want to say one more time, I apologize for that. When we welcome you to our meetings, it's very important that you are feeling included in our meeting, and whether we are in the meeting or outside as we greet you, that we are feeling, the feeling is there that you are a part of everything we do, and that is true, but we are also saying it as well. So that's where I want to just to raise that again, and just to say that we have a way to go, right? There are historic and meaningful reasons that we have used the terms sisters and brothers for many decades. At the same time, those words are exclusive. If we only say sister and brother and not include and everyone is not included in that language, trans, gender non-binary, and gender fluid union members who are fighting for their rights and visibility do not appear in those words. So we really have to sit down and figure out, how do we do that? How do we make sure that we're doing the right thing, right? And there are different reasons suggested by those who study labors. So as we look at this, that's what we also have to assess, like the different reasons and why we do what we do, about why we use the terms brothers and sisters. Some say when organizing happened in the 19th centuries, workers met in secret. So that's one of the why. Maybe you have different reasons for that. So they use words instead of the worker's real name out of fear of punishment and reprisal. Some say it was so one union member could call another members whose name they didn't know. So if you're on a picket line or elsewhere and greeting other union members, it was easier and feeling more of welcome to say sister and brothers, as a friendly gesture as well, or that it was to show the kind of respect and solidarity you would show with family members, again saying you're our union family, or that it came out of existing brotherhood society. But it doesn't matter. It's all in the same, like it was used as a form. This was a form of respect and solidarity. But today, many different words are used by different unions and group of working people to describe other people with respect and solidarity, like sibling, non-binary sibling, comrade, and that's just a few of them. So last week, our executive board, at our executive board meeting, we agree that the best way we can handle that is by shifting to the inclusive term comrades. We are going to try to use that language instead of gender-specific words. And at this time of transition, we need to be gentle with one another. Sometimes we forget. Sometimes we fall back on tradition. Sometimes we get nervous about changing things. I just want to ask that all of you and each of us to be gentle with each other as we get used to shifting to using inclusive language. And it's important to put this out, that other delegates, as you come to this meeting, please know that our board have taken your response, your whatever you put in the chat, we take that back to our board to discuss, and maybe others might have other suggestion that want to put out or objection to that. You feel free, you could put it back in the chat as well, and we can definitely go back to our board to continue the discussion on that. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on, and I think this is we invite Peter Tabin early on, and felt that this would be a perfect time, especially when we are looking to another election, but a perfect time for him coming in as our guest. And I don't have to say much about Peter Tabin. He's well known as Friends of Labor and Working People. Peter is currently the interim leader of the New Democratic Party of Ontario and the official opposition to Doug Ford at Queen's Park. So I just want to welcome him again for coming out tonight. So I'm going to turn over to Peter.
Great. Andrea, thank you very much. And in light of your earlier comments, good evening, comrades. Nice to see all of you. You're a good bunch. I'm looking forward to the day we can all be in a room together, because I really enjoyed the feeling. But we'll enjoy the feeling we got right now. Andrea, there's a lot to say, and I know I was told I don't have an hour and a half, so I'll try and compress it. And everyone in this Zoom meeting knows that Doug Ford came back into power with a strong majority, no question. What's been interesting, though, is that since June, the impact of his policies on our healthcare system, his negligence of the impact of inflation on working people, his refusal to actually deal with some critical labor issues has really been affecting his polling numbers. They've been dropping. People may have seen the headlines today that the honeymoon is over and we're back to normal relations with Doug Ford. And normal relations, let's face it, friends, comrades, is not a good situation for anybody. He's bad news, but I have to say his lower polling numbers mean we're in a position to create a political crisis for him, and I don't think we should give up on that. There are a few things on the go, and I don't think I'm going to shock you with anything really new, but I do want to point things out or highlight. Bill 124, which capped wages in the public sector, or broad sections of the public sector at 1%, obviously has had a big impact on people's ability to actually put food on the table and have a roof over their head. The calculation that came out last week was that effectively he's taken over $9 billion out of the pockets of working people. And so people have actually felt in their daily lives the impact of that kind of, I'm trying to think of the right term. Man, I would just say coercion. I'll stick with coercion for now. But I have to say, you coerce people enough, you beat them up enough, you demoralize them enough, and they start to check out. And we are seeing that impact in our hospitals. We're seeing it in healthcare facilities generally. We're starting to see it in education. I know education workers who are on this call, on the Zoom tonight, can talk about how this has driven people out of schools, people who are needed as education assistants, who are helping the kids who are in the toughest position. There just are not enough of them. People can't live on the wages that they're being paid because inflation has been going up this past year, close to 10%. So people have been taking a wage cut now for a number of years. And that's having an impact on health. In turn, that's having an impact on Doug Ford's popularity. And people may be aware of his Bill 7, the Cruelty in Healthcare Act, we call it, an act that requires people who are in a hospital bed who can't be released home because they need some medical attention, but don't need acute care, has changed the rules so that if you're in a hospital, you can't go somewhere else. They find a place for you to go. And if you don't go, you can be charged, or frankly, you must be charged $400 a day by that hospital. This is disastrous. The reality is that the long-term care sector doesn't have the resources to take all the people that need to come out of the hospitals. The reality is that people can be moved from 70 to 150, and frankly, beyond that, maybe 200, 300 kilometers away from their families and their social supports. And it's pretty clear from the experience we've seen in the last while that if you cut people off from their family and their close friends, that it has a direct impact on their health and leads to people dying early. As a friend of mine has said, unnecessary deaths and needless suffering is what's baked into this bill. And part of the reason this bill has been brought forward is Ford has got to look for a scapegoat for what's going on in the healthcare system. People are being driven out because Bill 124 has driven down their wages. And it's pretty clear to them that aren't going to get the respect or the decent working conditions that they need. He's got to find a way to say, no, it's not that, it's the frail elderly, it's people living with disabilities. And that's what Bill 7 is all about. I want to say as well, and I'm sure in this meeting, this again is not real news, but a big part of what Ford is doing is pushing for privatization of healthcare. And I'm sure all of you are familiar with the idea that he would do this, but he actually is putting very substantial money into moving surgery and other medical services out of hospitals, out of publicly funded hospitals, into privately run clinics. And we have seen the results of that kind of activity. The Ontario Health Coalition, which the labor movement is just right at the heart of, has demonstrated that time and again, when people go to these private health facilities, they get charged extra costs. They get charged for medication, they get charged for consultations with medical professionals, they get charged a whole raft of things that you don't get charged in the public system. And it's going to mean more and more that people who have paid taxes to get decent health care are going to be stuck with bills at the end of their treatment. And it's something that we're very focused on fighting. We're very interested in hearing from you and from the members of your unions about people's experiences with these independent or private health clinics and their experience with Bill 7, because it's their personal stories that we can take into the legislature and use to beat Ford up with. These are the stories that the media want to cover. These are the stories that if we're going to have any luck driving him back, we're going to have to use constantly. And I have to say, it was also interesting to me that our labor critic, Jamie West, was in Las Vegas for the recent Steelworkers Convention. And one of the things that was a shock to him, talking to his American comrades who are bargaining with large companies, is how much of their bargaining is for the healthcare services that we take for granted as part of our publicly funded healthcare system. So to the extent that Ford is able to privatize the healthcare system, he rolls back our negotiations for good benefits and good wages are way, way, way back. And we need to preserve that healthcare system so that the wins that we can win, or the wins that we can achieve in our workplaces, are for things on top of what we have now, not just defending what these people want to take away. I also want to note that may not be top of the list of labor issues, but the initiative on the part of the government, which has gone through to completion, to set up this strong mayor system in Toronto and Ottawa, is a centralization of power around the priorities of the provincial government that is not going to serve us well. To the extent that councillors have been able to fight for a labor agenda, fight for things like fair wages, for union recognition, the strong mayors, I have no doubt whatsoever, are going to be part of a rollback of those sorts of labor protections and achievements. And I think people should be fully aware of all the initiatives that this government brings forward as part of an anti-labor agenda. It may be that he is willing to make concessions in some areas to win over part of the labor movement. But the heart of what he does is to make life more difficult for working people and life a lot more pleasant, a lot richer for those people who can afford to put thousands of dollars into his election campaigns, who can afford to flood his fundraising banquets. Those are the people who are doing very well in this regime. The rest of the people who are trying to make a living, trying to keep a roof over their head, they're having a tougher and tougher time. And I want to say just a last bit here about education. Bill 124 has been used to beat up education workers. The government has decided in the negotiations that we've been seeing, or negotiations they're willing to talk about, that they want to continue to keep education workers, teachers, everyone in that system at the lowest level of wages they can get away with. And this is disastrous for those working people, and it's disastrous for a public education system. I don't have any doubt in my mind that part of their agenda is to make more and more people turn to private schooling. When they were elected in 2018, it was the first time I had ever been lobbied to expand private schools in this province and to set up a system of charter schools as they have in the United States. We need to fight not only to make sure that working people have decent wages, decent benefits, and decent lives in the education sector, but fight as well to make sure we continue to have a public education system so that people do have an opportunity to lead better lives, to get the education and training they're going to need to do well in this economy. And with those comments, Comrade Babington, I turn it back to you. I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you. Okay. So thank you very much for coming in with all this information. And I'm sure, you know, sometimes we're trying to be in denial with what's really around us, but we can't go further if we continue to do that. We have to start coming together to look at how we can get through this, right? And not to look the other way, but take it on. We have to take it on. So before we switch over, if anyone have question for Peter, this is your moment. You can raise your hand. Okay, I see you, Bill.
Yeah, one of the things, Peter, I'm quite concerned with is lack of home care for seniors. I believe that's one of the openings that we don't need the people in the senior homes if they can be looked after at home. It doesn't take a 724. Just somebody to come and maybe wash the clothes, do the dishes, make some meals.
Yeah.
Home care. You can live in your own home for many, many more years instead of being institutionalized in those senior homes.
Yeah, if you don't mind my commenting, Bill, this is a really important point that you've made. If there's a problem with people being stuck in hospitals, we can't wait a decade for new buildings to be built in long-term care. Your suggestion is right on the money. We can hire people today who can actually give support to people in their homes. Now, there are people who do need training, personal support workers, and we can give them that training and give them that training without charging them tuition. But someone who does dishes, who can help get some groceries in, you don't need all of that training to do that. We could move very quickly, I think, to give our seniors a lot more support, keep them living independently. I'm glad you raised it, Bill, because this is something that Tories just will not address.
Thank you.
Else? Okay. Okay, I've seen no more. So thank you very much, Peter. Thank you for coming. You're always welcome. I'm sure I don't have to say that this is home. Even if it's virtual, it's home. It's home for us and also for you, always welcome. And with such good timing, I'm going to turn it over to one of our organizer, Skylar Maharaj. She is working tirelessly. As I mentioned before, the urgency with the municipal election coming up, and she's at the behind the scene, laying the groundwork, doing as much as she can to get everything going in terms of with the candidates, and also messaging that's going out to our affiliates. So I'm going to turn over to Skylar as she guide us into what, you know, what's happening and how do we get to October 24th. Over to you, Skylar.
Thanks, Andrea. So I'm not going to take a ton of time today because you guys have heard me the last several months talking about municipal elections, and we're in the home stretch. So really what it comes down to right now is we know who our endorsed candidates are. You should actually, oh, maybe I don't have it here. The newest copy of Labor Action is in the mail, and maybe it's already made its way to your mailbox. It's got all of our endorsements in it. Please share it far and wide. You can also find it on our website, laborcouncil.ca/municipal 2022. And so council candidates, TDSB and TCDSB endorsements, they're all out there. So what is needed now is two things: support for those candidates to identify their voters, get up their signs, self-promote with getting leaflets in mailboxes, and two, for you to go and vote. And I think you know this, but you may not realize that actually the first day of advance vote is tomorrow. So advance vote is running from October 7th through the 14th. You can vote in one of two polling stations in your ward if you're in Toronto. And in many parts of York Region, there's also online voting, so you can check that out as well. Yeah, you need to get yourself out to vote. If you have loved ones or colleagues or other people in your community who you can get out to vote as well for progressive candidates, help them make a pledge to vote, make a plan to vote, do what you need to do. And really, our candidates need boots on the ground. So what I'm hearing from candidates in the last week or so is they have literature that needs dropped. They have signs, many sign location requests, but they need to get those signs up. They need help canvassing. And for those of you, many of you have already been out doing that work. So thank you on behalf of the candidates. It's so important. We need to keep doing it. I'm also going to share my screen. Hopefully you don't get another embarrassing view of my wedding photo, as always happens, but here we go. So on our events page, we've been posting all of the canvases, labor canvases that are coming up. So some of them are organized independently of Labor Council, directed by a union or from the campaign. So you'll see that. You'll see trustee candidate canvases. Some are headlined by familiar faces. There's one with Peggy Nash that's happening this weekend. One for Guled, who's running in Scarborough Southwest. They're not all up here. I was furiously trying to get them all up before this part, but please keep checking back because those canvases are going up. So lots going on, and I really just encourage you to get out and to keep having those conversations about why voting in municipal elections is important. And that's the end of my piece. Madam President, should I go ahead and introduce our next speaker?
Yes, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to turn over to somebody who doesn't really need much of an introduction in this crowd, but I'm going to do it anyway. Alejandra Bravo, who's our endorsed candidate running in Davenport. This is your year, Alejandra. So Alejandra, we've known her for many years because she's been working with and alongside labor to build community, fight for the things that matter, for social justice and social racial justice and economic justice. She's been doing amazing work from the Broadband Institute. She's set up the Power Lab at the intersection of community and work and organizing. She just brings so much smarts and community mindedness and dedication to all of our causes. So we don't need to go on any further. And thank you, Alejandra. I'll leave it with you.
Thanks so much, Skylar and Andrea. I've just come in off the doorstep, so I'm a little disheveled, and I'm excited to be here with you because I am also proud to have the support of the Labor Council. I want you to know that every one of the candidates that you've endorsed, we're out here having really powerful conversations with people. And I think this is a very special time for your leadership. Okay, we're out here talking about the problems with the private delivery of public services. People are waking up to the, that deal that was done for the garbage cans, and it's like, oh, that's not good business, and it's not good government. They're waking up the cost of garbage privatization. They're seeing the cities fraying in so many ways because of bad budget priorities, including transit cuts. The recreation cuts that have happened this fall. There wasn't any water in a lot of the pools this summer because the city of Toronto is becoming a bad boss. And because it's a bad boss, it can't attract workers. And so I've had this conversation every day, all day. People realize that we have to reinvest, refund, reprioritize the things that we all share in common. And they don't they understand that city services means city workers, and that we have to raise the standard of living for everyone in Toronto. So this is an exciting time to be on the doorstep. I think that the reality is that Doug Ford has given himself more power with strong mayor powers. Doug Ford has more influence over the mayor of Toronto, but the mayor of Toronto is going to be, we're going to need to hold him accountable for that budget that he's going to bring in. He's going to have so much power over that budget, and I'm happy to see the questions already coming up. 0% increases means across the board cuts, and especially in places that are so needed and so loved, like libraries. I don't think the public will stand for it. We need to get out there and have those conversations at every door and every language that we know, because I think that for the first time in a really long time, working class voters are not going to be duped by any messages of redirection and blaming unionized city staff this time, and blaming unionized workers in their sector or other sectors for the economic problems that we have in right now in Toronto. I'm really excited and proud to be here with you, and I think that every vote counts. If your leadership, your commitment, your networks, your knowledge are needed out there on the street more than ever. Candidates like that count on you, count on the power that you bring from unions and from the knowledge that you know about how to mobilize people. Last year, I lost a very narrow election by 76 votes. So I know more than most people do that every vote counts. And we're going to be out here fighting alongside you to make sure that what we're bringing to the city and the new council is a call for fairness, a call for justice, and a call for lifting each other up instead of tearing each other down. And that's my commitment to you. And I'm excited to hopefully see many of you out on the street, whether it's in Davenport or any of the wards that have been endorsed by the Labor Council. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here, for the leadership that you show, and for the commitment that you've made to us and to each other and to the workers and the residents of the city. Thanks. All right, Skylar, over to you. Thanks, everybody. I'm just going to unmute and stop video, and thank you for the opportunity to be here with you tonight.
Thank you for coming.
Sorry, I forgot that I was it was back to me to introduce our next speaker. I beg your pardon. So I'm happy to introduce our next speaker, another candidate who's running for TDSB trustee re-election. Mana Wong, our wonderful trustee in Scarborough Agincourt, such a strong fighter for that area of Scarborough, and Labour Council has been happy to support you through many campaigns and this one again. So over to you, Mana.
Thank you, Skylar. Thank you, everyone. Good evening. It's my pleasure indeed to be able to speak to you tonight. Again, as Skylar has mentioned, that it's been a long time that I'm privileged in a position to be able to receive the support from Labour Council and many members of the union, especially those with OSSTF 12, ETT, QP4400, and many other members. So it's my privilege and my pleasure to be able to work with you for so many years. For every one of us, I'm sure we all know that, and it's nothing new. Yes, education is under threat. Make no mistake about it. But we will say, Mana, it's always been the case. It's been there for many years already. So there's nothing new. Yes, it might not be new. We're still under tremendous pressure in terms of making sure that our students receive the support they need. We are trying to make sure that the issues like, for example, the funding formula, issues such as the EQAO, and about the education development charges, those issues have been there for many years. Yes, but this is really critical to really bring to everyone's attention that now, as we remember previously, what the fourth government was trying to do in terms of bringing in online 4 mandatory course. Now they back down a little bit. Yes, it's back down to 2, but again, given the experience we have had during the pandemic, we're still in a kind of pandemic, but at the same time, we did learn a lot, and from the experience that we have, and from the statistic that we have, we know that the online learning component of learning is not learning as we know it, as what we demand from public education. So the issues are long, and then I am sure that I don't need to tell you about that. But again, we as trustees are there to say that we are the first line of defense in terms of providing the kind of access, the kind of equitable access to our community, to our students, to make sure they are served equitably. So, and in a way that the parents can be invited in to have their voice heard, to have the members from the community to be able to make sure that they have access to the resources at the board, whether we're talking about the use of the space or whether we're talking about the repair of the schools where the children are. So these issues are very pressing. And it's getting more so every single day with the constant threat of being able to come up with the resources to meet the huge, for example, special education needs of our students, to make sure that the students who are affected most by the pandemic get the support, both towards the academic achievement as well as mental well-being issues. So these are pressing ones that we have to deal with, and as we all know, trustees do play a role, I would say an oversight role in making sure that collective agreements are being negotiated fairly and equitably, and that it works for, again, all our hardworking staff who has been putting especially in the last 2 years, all they could do for our students, for our schools. So this is a very important thing that we have to bear in mind, that we need the trustee to be there to play the role, making sure that our school repairs are being done, the development of community uses of space are being met, to meet the needs of the community, to make sure that the intensification of our city, which brings a lot of pressure to local schools, are being addressed equitably. So there are huge issues ahead of us. And as I said earlier, that I really believe that the road trustees are there to provide the first line of defense from a community perspective. And I also would like to say that it might be the last line of defense as well, to make sure that our students, as they are growing up, as they're learning, as they navigating the path to the future, they start at the front line with an equitable approach from everyone involved in education. So, of course, I'm really appreciate the effort of members here, and of course the Toronto and John Region Labour Council in supporting progressive candidates and making sure these roles are being taken seriously and helping them. And I'm being one of the recipients. Thank you very much for that, for your leadership and your commitment and the passion that you have had over the many years I have been around. So, and I'm going to say it one more time that please, yes, the threat is still very, very real. And then again, we are not even talking about the voucher system that we're personally very, very afraid of, that might be bringing in something that we won't see as the way that we address the needs of our diverse city, making it making it disproportionately a disadvantage to many of our, whether Black or racialized or LGBTQ2S communities. So we want to make sure that we work together. And I'm calling upon you, everyone, if you have a chance to really go out to support your trustee candidate. Of course, I would love to see you there on my campaign trail. And I'm expecting a call from all of you, if I could, in the next few days, hopefully. So please come on out and help the candidates in your area. And they are, as I said again, a really critical line of defense, making sure our city remained equitable and affordable and having access to for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mana. Thank you. So you heard Mana, and you also heard Alejandra, right? We don't have a lot of time. The weeks are going really fast, and it's time for us to get out there and do as much as we can to get them elected. We don't want to look back with regret. Skylar, are you still on?
Still here.
Okay. So I turn back over to you. I'm not sure if you still have more report.
Oh, no, my report's done. I think we are on the municipal election statement, which I think.
Yeah. All right. So
maybe Susan's bringing it up.
You also would have received the, I'm hoping you saw it, the very good statement. There's two statements that's come in. That's the first one for the municipal election, why every vote count. And I'm gonna open that up for discussion. If anyone would like to speak on the statement. This is your chance.
Andrea, I'll speak on it if that's okay.
Okay, go ahead. I can't see anyone right now.
It's Alim Thirani. So I really want to tell everybody about the importance of this municipal election. So I work in transit, and we don't have the option of changing our CEO, but we actually have an opportunity this upcoming municipal election to change our boss's boss. So City Council, along with the TTC Commissioners Board, gives the mandate to our CEO. Right now, we are really under threat with the threat of contracting out. It's very prevalent right now, and we at ATU 113 have all boots on the ground. We have got our political action committee that's really engaging with the membership. We're out at campaign offices. trying to help all of the city councilors and school board trustees get elected, because this is how we impact change. Just something that I think is important is it's also a great way to engage with our membership. So we're out there talking to people, talking to our members, because a lot of these elections are won by less than 100 or 200 votes. And if we get our entire membership to get out and vote, that could change everything. So the more progressive city councilors we get, the better position we're in. So I'm in full support of this statement, and I encourage everybody to get out and vote, and encourage your family, friends, and members to get out and vote as well. This is an easy win for us, and one that we deserve, one that we haven't had in a little while. This is a big win for us that's really attainable and viable. So let's go out there and get it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speaker? I'm not seeing. Okay, I'm checking for speaker.
I don't see any additional hands up.
Okay, so seeing none, we're going to put it the statement for a vote.
I think we need a motion and
So yeah, so
I'll move that motion. It's Ali
Can I get a
Thurani.
second there?
I seconded, Abdi.
Second.
Mr. Tanya seconded.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, please signify. Any opposed, please signify. Any abstain, please signify.
Comrades, we have 5 seconds left to vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and poll.
Okay. Thank you. So this is also carried. Next, we have a second statement. Again, as mentioned before, the fight that's up ahead with the education sector. Education fights this fall, defending quality, defending publicly funded education and the workers who make this happen. Again, I'm going to put this statement out for any discussion. Karen, I see you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Andrea. Karen Ebanks, York Owecta. I am asking all delegates here present this evening to vote unanimously in support of this statement. Education fights this fall are real. All of our education workers, our collective agreements expired August the 31st, 2022. We had a fantastic showing at the Labor Day parade, and going up against this very regressive right-wing PC government. First are our CUPE siblings, who I want to congratulate on having an outstanding 96.5% strike vote. I think it sends a very clear message to this government that their offering of 1.25% for all education workers making above $40,000 is a joke. 2% below for those making below $40,000 is a joke, when we are seeing costs of living rising at astronomical rates. And I'm hoping that all of our siblings here this evening will stand beside CUPE, beside all of the education workers. Owecta will be up next. ETFO and OSSTF will also be there. And we're hoping for a strong showing of solidarity to explain to this government they must support bargaining rights. We need all of our activists to stand up, and also rights to all of our MPPs, our trustees. This municipal election, we have a chance to really shake up some absolutely damaging boards of trustees that we do see around Toronto and York Region Labor Council. I hope this is unanimously supported by all of our delegates here this evening. Thank you. I support this statement.
Thank you. Any other speaker? Check. I'm just checking if, make sure I'm not missing anyone.
See,
Okay, Comrade Miles?
Thanks very much, Andrea. Miles Magner, OPSI 568. I want to say first off that I think that the statement is very good as far as it goes. I think that the statement, our attitude and our commitment to support educational workers in this fight that's coming up, I think has to be tied into the broader picture that Peter Tabbins laid out for us in the previous discussion, which is that I think, as we all know, the stakes are extremely high for all public services, with us now being faced with 4 years of another 4 years of a Ford government. And the pattern that we've seen of underfunding for wages, but also for other service delivery costs, creating a crisis. We're familiar with the staffing crisis and the affordability crisis that public sector workers and in fact, all workers are experiencing at the moment. But that combined with the other cuts to support for public services, including education, including healthcare, including a broad range of government and broader public sector services, is really creating a crisis. And the crisis is designed, as people have pointed out, to lay the basis for privatization. A previous idiot minister of education in Mike Harris's government was silly enough to lay out clearly what the actual agenda is, which is to create a crisis in order to solve it. And their solution for the crisis is very clearly is privatization, as well as contracting out services to private sector and non-union contractors. So the education workers really are fighting our fight for all public sector workers and for all workers who depend on public services. That is all of us. And I think that we can anticipate that Lecce is not joking around when he is expecting people to take 2% and 1.25%, which is a real cut for, it's nothing but a substantial cut in real wages. And so the statement talks about lots of important things in terms of trying to mobilize political support for education workers as they go into bargaining and being prepared to support them on the lines. But I think what we have to recognize is that this government feels tremendously empowered. It's not beyond the realm of possibility that they will look to legislate or in other way curtail the right of these workers to bargain. And we need to be prepared to respond. So yes, support on picket lines when picket lines are organized and if and when educational workers, teachers, others strike. But beyond that, if the government attempts to curtail their ability to bargain freely and to conduct a strike as part of that process, then we need to be prepared on our side to escalate. And that's obviously not, it's a little bit beyond the hands of Labor Council, but we need to begin now a discussion about what does it look to have the statement mentions a common front, but what does it look like for that common front to escalate actions beyond solidarity pickets? How do we look at escalating strikes, coordinating strikes, sympathy strikes? I think we have to start to put all of that on the agenda and ask our own unions, ask the Federation of Labor to begin preparing for that kind of eventuality, because we can't afford to have another disaster like Bill 124 and 4 more years of austerity and falling wages for public sector workers.
Okay, thank you. Comrade Miguel?
Yes, good evening, everybody. In this opportunity, as a member of the Toronto Education Workers QP Local 4400, and I want to encourage everybody to support this statement. And this statement reflect the message that all education workers at the province levels and are fighting. And we encourage everybody to support this statement and to support us in the future. I encourage to the all sectors of the education from the all levels, in the elementary, in the secondary, in the all levels of this education system to fight together to defend our rights. It's time that we have to work together. But don't forget this. If we really are thinking in the future of our children, it's time to defend the education. All sectors are affected in these moments, and we need to fight together. Especially the education sector has to respond strongly, and this fight is coming very, very close. And I encourage today, and this you can support this statement and both express your best feelings in this statement. I hope so you can support this too. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there any other speaker? Again, I'm just checking my screen. Okay, so far, see no more speaker. And you know, it's like a conversation that we can continue just having. It's on high radar for what already start off, and as I said early on, the opening of the meeting, and still we're still in it, right? The pandemic just paused it for a bit, and then it picks up from where we left off with Leche. And I just to remind anyone that didn't get a chance to read the statement or just to sink into it, I believe it's also in the chat that you're able to take it from the chat and go through it. And I just want to go through a little bit with the Labor Council, the recommendation here that all affiliates join the Labor Council in calling on the Ford's government to bargain fairly and to offer all education workers a decent wage increase that is at minimum aligned with cost of living allowance. All affiliates and concerned activists join this Labor Council in calling on local school board trustee and MPPs to invest in public education and demand reform to the outdated education funding formula so that students are given the necessary support for what they need to succeed. Every affiliate and concerned activist write letters to the Ford government demanding true investment in publicly funded education and to show leadership in providing funding for smaller class sizes and improve ventilation. Support our QP comrades and teachers union at any picket line or strike support in the near future. This Labor Council and affiliates get ready for similar fight in other sectors. Could I have a mover and a seconder for this statement?
Rock, move motion.
Thank you.
I second.
Thank you. Okay, and I'm gonna ask for the poll. All in favor of this motion, please signify. Any opposed, please signify. Any abstain, please signify.
Siblings and comrades, we have 5 seconds left to vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and poll.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. This vote is carried. Okay, so we are going to move over to report of United Way campaign kickoff. And I'll call on Comrade Marcia Are you?
Yes, I'm here. Yes,
Okay,
I'm
over to
here.
you.
Thank you very much. I am just, or before we get started with the slide presentation, if I can just say a few words before we get started. Thanks, Jennifer. Before we get started, I just wanted to start with a huge thank you to all the delegates, especially the ones who are participating in the United Way campaign in their workplace. I know that many campaigns kicked off in August and September, and they will go, they will continue to run, some of them all the way to December. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all the comrades who are supporting the United Way campaign already in their workplace, and those who have, supported the campaign over many, many years. As you know, our partnership goes back to 1956. So, Labor has always played a very important part in supporting the campaign that helps so many people in our cities. So if Jennifer could bring up the first slide, I want to share some important information with you. So we all know that that United Way helps to fund over 300 community agencies and services in the GTA. And since the pandemic, these three stats that you're seeing on the screen right now have come out of the pandemic. And I just want to point them, sort of bring them to your attention. I believe that some of you might know some of these numbers, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention again, since they're really important. So we have nearly a quarter of Canadians that are eating less than they should. We also have 75% of Canadians say inflation is affecting their ability to meet basic needs. And 40% of Canadian young adults said they are at a mental health breaking point. So just keep these three stats in your mind when you are making a decision to donate to the campaign, since your donations are pooled and 300 agencies, community agencies, and services that Canadians need to get through, to recover from the pandemic and to make it through and to be a success. So this is the pool of money that funds those 300 community agencies and those services. So if we could go to the next, because I know that, when you donate money, it's important to know how that money is being used by the organization that you're donating to. So I just wanted to give you an idea, because many times when I speak with union members in the workplace, they want to know where does the money go? What is it used for? So a gift of $1,200 will provide counseling to a woman who has survived domestic abuse and her children for the length of their stay at a shelter. If you donate at the $2,000 level, that's just to give an example, this $2,000 provides 25 people with 2 sessions of a one-on-one support, which includes individual assessment of skills, career counseling, and navigation support. And at the $5,000 level, this will provide for 50 seniors who are some culturally appropriate hot meals once a week for 12 weeks. So that is how your donation that you give to United Way, these are just examples of where the money will be put to use. For the next one. For the next slide, I wanted to just go over, because so many times we don't remember that the labor movement and what we have achieved, it dovetails very nicely with the vision and the goal that United Way has set in the community. And some of the things I just wanted to sort of remind us, we have to sort of always remember that unions have been tackling issues of poverty from the very onset. And we know that, you know, in tackling those issues, we need to talk about, you know, how do we make sure that people have healthcare benefits? We need people to have not only a minimum wage, but a living wage. We know that we fight for people to get paid for overtime and to get paid sick leave and holidays. Workers' health and safety is something that is very important to union members, and we fight for those, the right to have a safe and healthy work environment. We know that we contribute to unemployment insurance for all workers, and we also have a paid maternity leave that was fought for by union members many, many moons ago. So we continue, and again, we continue to fight for human rights. So these are some of the ways that unions help to tackle the issues of poverty. And we've heard how United Way will fund agencies that provide services that people who are vulnerable in our communities, they fund the services that people would need. So in the next slide, I wanted to just bring to your attention how United Way is appealing to you in order for them to continue to fund the services that we need. So the next slide. Right, so United Way has set a goal for this year's campaign of $110 million that they're asking, and they're also asking for, that would be the equivalent of a 5% increase. So if everyone who donated last year is gonna, you know, put 5% on add a 5% increase on their donations, that would help them to achieve their goals. Also, some of the focus of the campaign is to help to meet the basic needs, everything from food to mental health resources to shelter. They also would like to see that everyone has access to resources and opportunities to help them recover from the effects of the pandemic, rising inflation and the skyrocketing cost of living and the looming recession. Through collaboration, research, and policy work, United Way is striving to change the systems that keep our communities divided. So those are some of the goals that have been set out by this year's campaign, for this year's campaign. So I appeal to you to continue to support United Way in the workplace. The work that they're doing really complements some of the work that labor does with workers in the workplace. In order to also support the campaign, every year we run what is called the President's Breakfast. So the next slide, yes. So the President's Breakfast for this year actually was due to happen on the 12th. We have had to reschedule that date. So we are now going to be having the breakfast in November. We haven't set a date as yet, but we are looking to November to have that President's Breakfast. And here is another opportunity to show your support for the United Way campaign, because we ask leaders who attend the breakfast to donate on behalf of their locals. And we ask for a donation that will be then given to the United Way. So this is another form of support for the United Way and for for the United Way and the programs that they support in the community, the programs and the services that they support. So look out for an invitation. An invitation will be coming out to all the presidents. And we look forward to having you attend the President's Breakfast in November. And thanks again for having me. And, you know, I hope that you consider supporting the United We. Thanks very much.
Andrea, you're muted. I know you've been speaking, but you're muted.
Sorry about that. Okay, thank you, Marcia. The next report on October 26th Anti-Racism Forum. Is there anyone from LCS to report? No? Okay, I see a hand up here. Let me see what's happening.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Bill?
Yeah, I'm sorry you didn't recognize me earlier.
Sorry.
I was just wanting to mention that United Way donations of money are tax deductible, federal and provincial. So it's something, if you can give some money to the United Way, it's tax deductible on your income at the end of the year.
Yes, thank you very much, comrade. You know, sometimes I assume that everyone knows, but it's always good. So it's always good to have a reminder. Thank you so much, Bill.
Okay, thank you. Abdi.
I yield for Sister Judith first, and I will follow Sister Comrade Judith Lord.
Okay, back over to you, Comrade Judith.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is a very important forum that is coming up. I will be participating on the panel and speaking from the perspective of being an ally and what can we do better as a union. What can we start doing, do more of, do differently to achieve the transformational change that needs to happen. That's just the fact. It needs to happen. So I encourage people to check out the forum, as well as I'm not sure if there's a couple of spaces left, but certainly reach out to Labor Community Services for this. And I'm excited to be able to participate, and I feel honored to be able to be asked to participate in this very important discussion. So thank you, comrades.
Okay, so just so everyone know, that she's reporting on the October 26th forum, because we're doing two different, yeah, just correct.
That one.
Okay.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, thank you. And back over to you, Abdi.
Thank you, Madam President, Comrade Judith. Since the beginning of 2022, the Labor Community Services Toronto York Labor Council and Yes It Matters Committee was and three fantastic activists, Comrade Jojo Charoma, Carol Walker, and Arnold Miners, have been working very hard towards organizing an anti-racism forum that will take place on October 26th. Our moment, our movement. This forum will launch a campaign that addresses the anti-racism that we every single morning when we wake up fight for it, and transformational change for our collective agreement, member to member. And a good example is OSTF District 16 did a good work on implementing it. Comrades, this is important for many, many years to come. And supporting this forum is important because of our members, because of the changing and just it matters that we, Toronto and York Labor Council, launched it during the COVID, what we had up from the teachers tonight, health workers. It's important to support it. And together we can support to make it success. Together we can make it the future of our workers, our communities we live in equity. So there's a 3 levels of, and if we don't support, there will be nobody else that supports. 3 levels of sponsorship. The gold is 1,000, silver is 750, and the bronze is 500. So I am asking all the labor movement organizations, locals, unions, to support this forum. It is the first one since I think many years ago. It's important for our existence. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you. Okay. I'm just checking if there's any other hand that's up. Okay, none. Hope I didn't miss anyone. Thank you very much, Abdi. All right, so we move on to our agenda where it's like yesterday, just recently, we went through Labor Day, and I just wanna, just to do a little bit of a debriefing on Labor Day, where we start off with the official announcement that we'll be back on the street in person after more than 2 years without having that in person. We did the cavalcade last year where the excitement was there, even though people was in their vehicle. And I think the highlight of some that got out of the vehicle for that barbecue at Steelworker Hall was raving review. So imagine this year where everyone was on the street. The report that we were getting back from a number of unions, you know, how they felt, and members who came out to march the street because it was taking back their union, reconfirming that their union is around. And imagine for a lot of these members who are used to a lot of virtual meetings, maybe not fully back into their membership meeting or off and on, and now coming out on the street, that we were getting feedback that, wow, like once again, like I know my union is here, my union is existing. I've seen co-workers, friends that I haven't seen for a long time, but I think most important, they were marching on the same route that they've been doing for so many years. And the importance of it that this year, where we went out celebrating 150 years since workers been marching. And they just knowing that while we are taking that street over these years, it wasn't all victory. There was struggles in it, but the fact that we were marching together to show that strength, that we understand what's happening and we're sticking together and we're going to take on those fight, was really important. So the report of even the sectors of the people that never marched before, that came out for the first time, a lot of these unions felt really satisfied knowing that that opportunity was there. And without ending the day, was really important to have unions coming out knowing that there is another group of workers that was on strike and wanted to stand in solidarity and take action in solidarity and support the TSSA striker, where we start off, if you remember, from the delegates night before Labor Day, doing some of these phones up, but on Labor Day, where each union have their members signing petitions, and at the reviewing stand, handing those over to in a box to APSU, and having some of the striker marching at the front was very important. The joy of seeing those signs that union made, the solidarity signs for TSSA striker. It's what Labor Day is about. It's coming out and showing that doesn't matter what happened, and whether you leave your home thinking it's just one thing, we come together for each other. So, and seeing those politicians marching, it's still a reminder that we have an election coming up, and what do we do about it when all these things at stake? So, I just wanna to throw that out to let you know some of the feedback that was coming. We always have our challenge, but the fact that so many thousands came out and wanted to just to be together and re-energize, strengthen and reconfirm ourselves. I think that's what Labor Day was about. So again, thank you for coming out, and we must always, as our theme on our banners and our T-shirt said, some of you together we will, together we can, and together we did. And those are three important message, just to remind ourselves of the kind of struggle that we've been through and the victories that we have achieved together. And as we look forward for the moving forward in the future, what is it that we think that we are strong enough to do together? That's very important. We are hearing tonight of many things at stake right now. How are we going to recommit ourselves to make sure that we are going to continue to stand up for each other, that we are able to, another 150 years, we might not be around, but others can pick up the mantle from where we left off with that. And with that saying, as I said that, I also need to let you know that we had 3 judges that was, they were at the reviewing stand also judging as people, the parade went by, really good crowds going by, but again, like it's limited. And so I also want to turn over, because the 3 judges, the former president, Maureen O'Reilly from the Toronto Libraries Union, Yolanda Badesi from CLC as our human rights director, and our comrade Felicia Samuels was there. And I'm kind of choking up and smiling because I'm used to Felicia, maybe recently with people out there canvassing with Felicia, and sometime education union, and then our new position again as the OFL or new, sorry, the new our new staff that's here now. So I'm gonna let her introduce herself to you. But Felicia also was one of the judge at Labor Day, and now we will see Felicia even more as she's representing, I should say, CLC. So she'll be here at most of these meetings, giving report on behalf of the CLC. So Felicia, I'm going to turn over to you. I don't know if it's you doing all the announcement or it's you and Yolanda. It's you. So over to you, Felicia.
Thanks, Andrea.
So for all of you, just to give, while she's doing that, just applaud for her new position at the CLC as the CLC regional rep.
Thanks so much, everybody. Andrea's got ahead of herself. Andrea, we're supposed to do the awards first.
I know. I just can't. I'm choked up. So.
Okay, we'll come back twice. So let's rewind. So yes, I was very proud to be one of the judges on Labor Day with Yolanda Badesi, who Andrea, she's with the OFL. People mix us up all the time. She's the OFL Human Rights Director. Yes, and then Maureen O'Reilly. We had a really good time. The turnout was so good and the vibes were great. And I need to now share with you, because Jennifer, I think you're holding up the plaques, right? So we're gonna, wait, not yet. We're gonna share with you the names. They came out via the newsletter, but now we're just gonna share them. And Jennifer's gonna hold up the plaque. So for best turnout, we had ATU 113. Woo, ATU.
Sorry, who won that one?
We'll do it again for you, Aleem. I know you love to hear
it.
ATU 113. Great job.
Thank you.
Such a spirited turnout. Wonderful. In terms of best float, we had United Steelworkers Toronto Area Council. Yay! And there's your float plaque that we can all see. Most spirited was Unite Here, Local 75. Yay, Unite Here. Excellent job. And the best decorated vehicle was OPSU Region 5. So excellent work, OPSU. Excellent, excellent. Yay, let's give them all with a hand. Woo! All right. So I'm not going to keep us long because it's almost 9:30 and I'm close to the end. So, hey, everybody, my labor family, thank you so much, Andrea, for that introduction. And she's so sweet. She's choking up because Andrea was one of my day ones here at Labor Council. So I have participated in our Labor Council for the past 15 years. So pretty much first Thursday of every month for the past 15 years, I've been here. And Andrea was very kind. In the beginning, she took me under her wing. There's that old picture she used to have, the awful picture on her desk. I don't know if she still has it with us in our hats. She still has it. So embarrassing. But she was there for me. John was also great. Sharon, Carolyn, Winnie, Preeti when she was with us, Nigel. All of these folks were there in the very beginning, and they made sure that I felt that it was a comfortable space to be in. So the fact that y'all have seen me through so much in my career, becoming a released executive member with the Elementary Teachers of Toronto, running for politics. You all supported me in those campaigns, being on committees, and now in this role with the CLC. I am the new regional rep, so I'm taking over for Heather. Heather is now the director, and I am the regional rep. So I will be the ones giving the report. And I'm going to try to keep this one brief because I know I'm close to the end. So what I want to share with you all, municipal elections and this labor family, you all are doing such a great job. I have 8 labor councils, and I have to say the work that's coming out of our labor council here at Toronto region, really good. The endorsements went smoothly. The graphics are out, so we know who we're voting for. We know who we're supporting. So excellent work done by everybody at the Labor Council and all of you coming out. That is great. We had a Get Out the Vote training this past Sunday, October 2nd. So we had folks who want to get more involved with the elections, get energized, share strategies, learn some things. So it was a small but mighty turnout. And we talked about the issues that they're hearing at the doorsteps. Things like affordable housing, mental health, addiction. And the one that, of course, being a Black woman, that really got to me was just hearing the discussions about the rise of hate that they're seeing, and they're hearing about whether it's candidates or it's commentary at the doors. So we've been hearing this election is huge, and even from social justice, human rights areas, we need to make sure that we're engaged and do what we can. And we know you just came off of a provincial election. Yeah, I was there, I know. But we gotta find a little bit of energy. Help a couple of candidates if that's all you can do. If all you can do is do phone work, some campaigns will let you do the phone work from home. You can do phone banking from there. And we talked about some of the things that we're offering through the CLC, phone banking to Labor Council if that's what they need. Something called Hustle, which is basically phone banking without actually talking to anybody. It's all using your cell phone or your computer. So there are other ways to get engaged. If you don't really want to be out there, you can do it from the comfort of your home. So please, please, please get involved. We also talked about how we get folks to volunteer. Next on the list. Oh, and if you want the notes from Matt, you can email me. Here's my email. I will put it in the chat. The next thing I'd like to share with you all is our CARE campaign. So on September 25th, no, sorry, September 12th, CLC launched its CARE campaign. So we often hear Doug Ford talking about how he cares so much about frontline workers, but we see in his deeds, his actions, that's not the case. So this campaign is really set up to show that we care about our frontline workers. We care about people who provide care. We want to see them have proper working conditions. We want to see them taken care of. And this is our way, so our, meaning this whole family and everyone out there, it's our opportunity to actually show how much we care, whether it's connecting with MPs or is putting out a message of solidarity. And we're going to show a really quick video. Jennifer, I don't know who's queuing that up. If you could please play the video for me. It's on the showwecare.ca website.
They take care of your children. They take care of your parents. They take care of your neighbors. And they take care of the old. These are the people that take care of us all. You may not always recognize them because they don't always come in a uniform. But sometimes, even they need a helping hand. Now it's time to show we care. Find out how. Visit showwecare.ca.
Thank you. If we can just also screen the website really quickly, please. Thank you. So here's how you can join. We have, we'll go to Take Action. If we can click on Take Action, please. Okay. So here are all the ways that you can take action. And again, very easy. You can do it from the comfort of your phone, your device, whatever that is. Send a letter to your MP. You can go on to Pledge to the Wall of Care. If we can click on this one, please. This one's cool. I think so anyway. Scroll down. So here's where you get to share your support, share your experience receiving care or why you're grateful for care workers. And it actually allows you to click and put up your message instantly. And you can put a picture up. So these are all examples of messages that have been shared by folks. And you can do this too, very simple. And you just click on, if you scroll back down, please, for a second. So pledge your support with a message. If you click on that, sorry, I want to be beneath this picture. Yeah. If you do click on pledge your create post, there it is. You can actually make your post right here. We're just going to click on that just to show it real fast. Is it not working? Okay, you can try it on your own. Like I said, it's getting late.
I have a million things open. Sorry, it's probably, oh,
there you
it
go.
is.
That's perfect. Thank you. So here you write your message and you can add an image if you like. You put whatever picture you want. You'll notice a lot of folks are doing the heart sign with their hands and just posting a selfie doing that. You can totally do that and it'll be very much appreciated. And I would like to see a bit more traction on this campaign. So Labor Fam, I'll be watching and looking for your messages. I'll do one of these days when I'm gonna get to it. So when this campaign's done, when the municipal elections are done, you're done with your canvassing, please hop on here and share your message. Thank you. We can close that. Thank you very much. And finally, in terms, oh, sorry, and one more thing. If you want to access that en français, c'est prenonssoin.ca. So if you go up to the corner, you can go click on French and you'll have the whole campaign en français. So you'll have that option as well if that's your preference. On October 1st, as you know, there was the increase to minimum wage. Unfortunately, it's not a huge increase. We see Doug Ford group again, not interested in paying a fair wage. So our president, B. Brusk, was in the news sharing that the minimum wage needs to be a minimum of $20 at this point. I'm going to put a link to the article in the chat. And the CLC, as you know, is supporting education workers, and we will be there if the time comes when there are pickets, et cetera. We're going to be there with Labor Council, with individual pickets, whatever is needed, we will be there. And we have been showing up for the OPSU TSSA strike actions that the Labor Council has been putting on. Our whole team has been doing this, which is great. And then finally, just so you all know, the CLC does work with presidents. It brings presidents together. The next meeting will be on November 6th, and the OFL Executive Council will be on November 7th again. These will be held virtually, and that's going to be our connection with our presidents. So I put my email address if you want any more information about any of these. It's in the chat already. And thank you, Jennifer, for putting showwecare.ca in there. And here is the link to B. Brusk, just her comments about the minimum wage not being enough. And I love your questions. So if you have any, don't hesitate to email me. And that's my report. Back to you, Andrea. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, so I will move over to correspondent. Over to you, Abdi.
Thank you, Madam President. Comrades, we have two correspondents tonight. The first one is request from Labor Community Services to sponsor the United Way President's Breakfast Sponsorship ranges from 100 to 2,500 plus. The executive board recommends a donation of the use of the $500. I so move the motion. Seconded by Jane. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, the poll is up.
Siblings and comrades, 5 seconds left to vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the poll. Madam President, we have 97% for yes.
Comrades, the second correspondence to tonight's request from Labor Community Services to sponsor the Anti-Racism Forum to be held on October 26th. The sponsorship ranged from $500 to $1,000. The executive board recommends a sponsorship of $750. I so move the motion. Seconded by Jane Marsh.
Okay, the poll is up. All in favor, please signify. Any opposed, please signify. Any abstain, please signify.
Siblings and comrades, 5 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the poll.
Okay, thank you. And then we are on to project report. Okay, I think so this is carried. We'll close the poll. And on to the project report. Anyone from Labor Education Center? Is Faisal on? Yep, Faisal? Not sure what's going on with him there. I can see. Okay. Any other project report? Okay, committee report? What is it? Where you call Faisal? Okay, I can you hear me? You're on.
I can. I'm sorry. I didn't. No, there's nothing to report. Thank you for asking. I appreciate it.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, unions report. Any report from unions? Okay, I'm checking. Sure, I'm finishing. I see no hands. All right. So that would take us to the end of our agenda. And I know Susan have a song to lead us off. So once again, as you listen to that, make sure that you start with one of the campaign officers to volunteer.